Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I want to start here. Check this out. This is interesting. Dutch government openly discussing canceling debt by revaluation of the gold price. Using the GRA to cover losses doesn't require selling gold. It requires changing the accounting rules. There's no limit on the gold price. Now, I firmly believe this, folks. I believe that when this story is done being written, crypto or no crypto, they're going to have to revalue gold to what it's really worth. After all the years of manipulation by all these central banks and we know JPMorgan manipulated the silver prices, and I don't know about gold, but we know silver. So if it was being done for silver, of course it was being done for gold. With all the money printing, the idea that gold is at where it is a joke, and everybody knows it. That's why one of my sponsors is Glint. Check it out. They got a newsletter. But anyway, I'm buying physical gold. I'm buying gold in my Glint account. And you can actually buy gold in your Glint account so that you've got your MasterCard debit card to spend the gold if you want. You can also put it in your account and then request that it be sent to you physically. Links in the top of the description. Click on it. Tell them DAI sent you. Now, I've seen a lot of takes on price predictions in my day on this channel for XRP and different things. I have never seen a take like this, and I'm not saying I think this guy's right or wrong. Excuse me. I'm just saying this is an interesting spin after seeing all these things. Watch this.
And they're going through it every 3.8 seconds. So, I mean, I don't know how much is going through on each one of these without actually inspecting it, but the average transaction fee, which is how much XRP is being burned, is what I'm interested in, right? And as you can see, it's changing all the time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that value and I'm going to enter it into this. So what I'm saying here is this is the current XRP price. This is the average transaction price. So I'm going to enter what I can see on my screen now, which is apologies, 0.0005701. And as you can see, it's giving me a total cost per transaction, which is less than 1 cent. And this is how many transactions I can do per XRP. And this is telling me how much XRP is if I times that by that, and that's how much I get as a price. Now, let's predict. Using the same logic, let's put the price of a transaction to 1 cent. Now XRP is worth £17.54. Let's put this down to,
I think it says $17.54 right there.
It's now worth 877. Now let's do the ultimate $1. It's now worth $1,754. Now, that was using the burn rate of an XRP per transaction. And like I said, these values change. As I put in there was 3 zeros. It's changed to now 2 zeros. Going back to that, 3 zeros. It's a good way of looking at this. And let's face it, XRP is not going to make a lot of money. Sorry, Ripple's not going to make a lot of money if they're charging less than 1 cent per transaction. I mean, like I said, Swift charges £5.50 for 1,250 to be sent to Australia. 1 cent made it £17. Do the math, Scott.
I'm not saying the guy's right or wrong. I'm just saying it's an interesting video, and I wanted to show it to you. Now, check this out. This is clarity through the courts, and this is what's her name? I'm drawing a blank on her name right now. I'll think of it in a minute.
To play out. Is there
From
a
the
sense
CFTC.
perhaps like Bitcoin, Ether will be considered commodities and perhaps most other digital
Christine
currencies
Pham
will be seen as securities? So look, this is a
question that many people in Washington are working very hard on. But I tend to think that in the near term that you might see some of that clarity through the courts.
Caroline fam, I'm sorry.
There are a number of court cases that are working their way through the system right now that do touch upon this really important product definitional question.
What kind of oversight is the CFTC likely to have? I mean, there's a great push for it to have an oversight over these digital assets. How are conversations progressing?
I can't predict the future, but what I do know is that the CFTC's principles-based regulatory framework is better placed to anticipate and adapt to new changes and new risks in the market. And so that's why, with the CFTC's extensive, again, authorities over the spot markets from an anti-fraud and anti-manipulation perspective, everything from ags, softs, commodities like metals, oils, to energy, to interest rates, to benchmarks. I mean, you name it, the CFTC has got this very broad jurisdiction, and that's why I'm confident that no matter what happens, we'll be best placed for it.
Now, I want you to see this because, you know, I used to believe when I first got into this, when I first got into XRP, I used to see all these guys that think like these Bankless guys in this video, and I used to think, well, they really don't get it. And how do they not get what XRP is? How do they not get how much better it is than Bitcoin and Ethereum and all that? I used to think that they were truly ignorant. But I've learned over time, and I'm not saying these guys in particular, but I'm saying industry-wide, I think that it's a lot more of a coordinated effort knowing that XRP is much greater than the others than it is just a couple of people that don't really get it. I just don't. I have a hard time, and the more time I've spent in this space, and I'll show you something in a minute after you watch this, which kind of leans towards proving that, but I'm not saying for sure on these particular guys, but my gut has been screaming for years now about this because it doesn't make any sense.
Like there's a video that says XRP to $589, which is something like a quadrillion dollar market cap or something like that.
Once you don't make the same mistake the pump made and assume that a title on a thumbnail is what I believe. We covered that story because a lot of people have been asking, what is this 589 in Ripple? Why do people talk about this all the time? That video was me actually explaining. There was one section of that video where I explain what that number is, where it came from, how it's so asinine, it will never happen.
However, you also...
Now listen to this part, because this is what I'm talking about.
Twitter profile have like hashtag XRP. And the reason why I really want to lean into this is that like XRP to me is the banker's coin.
Right.
And it's also like got this like, it used to be stronger, but it's got this like super big Twitter army. And so we have to be careful about when we make content about like, yes.
In other words, what the guy's saying is this is the banker's coin. This goes against everything that we believe because we're bankless. That crypto is about down with the banks. That's who these guys are trying to put themselves out to be. But at the same time, I'm trying to lean in towards assuming that these two guys are just ignorant and don't know. I mean, nothing's ever been more of a banker's coin than Ethereum. And I'm going to, in case these guys just happen to be watching, they're young men, so I'm going to train them a little bit, teach them a little bit. And hopefully, I want to assume that they're just ignorant of the facts. We'll show them to them here shortly.
The thumbnail doesn't really represent my beliefs. It's not investment advice. But BitBoy...
But see, the problem with this industry is the ideologues. Believe it or not, I'm not an XRP ideologue. I just know it's better, faster, less expensive. And for that reason, I'm an adult and I know that that's what makes sense in terms of what's going to be better for the world and what's going to be, what will actually be used. Why would you use Ethereum when the gas fees are a freaking joke when you could buy an NFT on the XRP ledger that costs almost nothing? You wouldn't. And in the real world, and these guys they're coming from an ideological standpoint, but it doesn't make any sense.
No, it is. For a lot of people. A lot of people are going to see that and be like, yeah, okay, I'm going to go and buy it right now while I'm watching this video because the thumbnail goes straight to the reptilian brain.
Right. So we all have reptilian brains that we're just a bunch of morons that push XRP. But these guys, that's highly offensive to me. What the point that guy just made is that to even speak about XRP because they have declared it the banker's coin is almost like you should be taken out and whipped over it, which is insane. Okay. What makes it even more insane is that the XRP community is some of the smartest people in crypto, probably the smartest people in crypto. We've done the research. We know where the bodies are buried. If you work at Bankless, watch this freaking video I'm about to play for you, and you tell me who the banker's queen is.
You mentioned Jamie Dimon, so let's bring it back to Jamie and JPMorgan. What do you think is going to be the thing that they will have to change the most or lose market share and somebody else is going to do better, faster, serve their clients better than JPMorgan or Goldman Sachs?
So our company Consensus has been very prominent since the start of the Ethereum ecosystem. I can attest that JPMorgan was there right from the start before public mainnet was even launched.
Well, I've spent a lot of time over the last couple of years, both building the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance and working at JPMorgan on a project called Quorum that was aimed at creating an enterprise-focused but privacy-preserving version of a blockchain.
You played such a critical role at JPMorgan, developing its blockchain practice, helping better understand how a traditional bank can embrace this new technology. How did those conversations go in the product Quorum, which you helped develop at JPMorgan? Can that be applicable to other banks?
Absolutely. It's an open source project. It's completely an agnostic, industry agnostic as well. So,
as you indicated, Consensus is announcing today that we are acquiring JPMorgan's Quorum Enterprise Ethereum blockchain platform. We additionally will see an investment, a strategic investment from JPMorgan, and have a seat on the board dedicated to JPMorgan. We'll be working together with JPMorgan to merge the technical roadmaps of our own Hyperledger Besu client, which is an Ethereum mainnet compatible client, with the Quorum technical roadmap. And under a commercial agreement, we will be supporting JPMorgan's Interbank Information Network, the IIN, and JPM Coin Network. So we will be bringing a much more comprehensive enterprise Ethereum solution to not just JPMorgan and the hundreds of financial institutions on their networks, but the additional hundreds of institutions around the world that make use of enterprise Ethereum and that are increasingly starting to make use of public mainnet Ethereum.
JPMorgan, Jamie Dimon was famously anti-blockchain, and he's come around to developing a project with you.
He always applauded the Jamie coin. He was just trying to...
Right, just waiting.
Nothing to see here. This blockchain thing isn't going to happen.
So what are they using Quorum for?
So the publicly announced applications are their Interbank Information Network, which...
Folks, if you look at the cast of characters, all of these people, I'm telling you, this has been a coordinated effort. I'm not going to name names, but I'm just telling you, it has been a coordinated effort from all angles. I've said it for over a year now, and I've watched it. Now, I'm giving these Bankless guys the benefit of the doubt. First, before I finished, I wanted to show you this. This is from just yesterday. Earlier today, JPMorgan executed their first live DeFi trade when they swapped tokenized SGD for JPY using a modified version of Aave on Polygon. The future is here, it's just not evenly distributed. Well, it says here, the modified version of the Aave platform. Well, if you remember, when Rosalind Layton wrote the article a while back, she wrote when she was talking about the SEC and how they were threatening to go after Coinbase for Coinbase Lend, but that she made a point to point out that they left Aave alone. And just for those of you that don't know, when Aave started, it was known as ETH Lend, okay? And she was talking about how Aave got a free pass. Here's Consensus tweeting about Aave. Okay, are you putting all this together, Bankless, if you're watching? Or do you guys not want to see the truth? That's always an option. Well, Stefan Huber kind of put them on blast. This is one of the guys from Bankless. Phew, Ron Adams, you're fast, boy. You already deleted the Hester Pierce. Apparently, they had this on their website. Level up crypto in 10 minutes. Get the world's most popular daily crypto email. Join 200,000 people going bankless, okay? They've got Mark Cuban. They've got these people. And then they've got Chris Dixon, who you'll remember from Andrews and Horowitz, because he's the guy that Jay Clayton went and met with, and he's the guy that Jay Clayton told to go put together the industry group. And this guy right here is who eventually was the guy behind everything that happened with the Ethereum free pass, folks. Well, this is Bankless. And Bankless also had Hester Pierce in their, who's part of their 200,000 people that are going bankless. Can you see it, folks? At Ethgate, folks, what the XRP community has uncovered in Ethgate is everything. Because I'm telling you, this was an attempt by a handful of people, probably a few hundred to a few thousand, to create a monopoly for Bitcoin and Ethereum, and that's the fact, Jack. And what we did in uncovering Ethgate, in my opinion, blew it up, so that the rest of crypto has a freaking chance to be a part of this crypto movement, instead of the regulators getting with a handful of their Wall Street buddies to try to create a monopoly for themselves. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that Ethgate's real and it's everything. Thanks for listening.